Big question now is, will these gains just be short-lived as she continues to dodge issues on trust and trustworthiness? Joining me now, Adam Goodman, Jessica Tarloff, and Kendall Coffee. Adam, listen, you've been around for a while, and you even said Hillary was going to get this sort of a bump, but it's there right now. She's got a little bit of momentum going.
Oh, no question. Republicans had 4 days to sell their message about a referendum on the system. Democrats had 4 days to sell their message as a referendum on Trump. I could just having seen Warren Buffett, though, Charles, I wish I could take one of those rides, because he gave us a very, for all the obvious reasons, but he gave us a shorthand lesson on GDP. If I had the chance to even spend a minute with Mr. Buffett, I'd remind him of some other economic information. Poverty is up. The shrinking middle class, the wealth gap is increasing, income has been squeezed more than ever before, jobs are being outsourced overseas, there's more violence overseas and at home than at any time in the last 6 months. I wish I had those 60 seconds with Mr. Buffett, as eloquent as he is, and maybe 1/100th of his bank account, but not his political sense.
Adam, if you hang around a few Dairy Queens in Omaha, you might bump into him. In the meantime, though, Jessica, I know you're riding a high right now.
So high? Not like actually.
Well, okay. Yeah. I know you haven't gone that far to Bernie.
No.
Okay. I know you guys have moved to Bernie, but not that far. But the fact is, these things happen, right? So
absolutely.
So what does Hillary do now to keep this momentum going? Because you know what? Even as this bump was occurring, she had an interview yesterday with Chris Wallace. That Washington Post gave her 4 Pinocchios.
It was a lie. She lied. Yeah.
So I mean, she continues to come out and do these kind of things, even as she has an opportunity to kind of move away or work on that area.
Well, actually, both Trump and Hillary Clinton get in their own way sometimes. You know, Trump, he had a convention bounce that he could be really proud of, and then he goes after the Khan family.
Well, what about the Hillary thing, though?
The Hillary thing, I think it was a huge mistake. I mean, I think that the polls are even showing that the American public is moving past this. We've now had about a month distance from Comey's testimony, and I think people were really riding high on that convention. It was extremely inclusive. A lot of people talking about how the Democrats had even co-opted patriotism and national pride there with that amazing scene with all the flags and the Khan family and General Allen, and then she goes and does this, and now that's eating up the news cycle again. Warren Buffett will help her, Mark Cuban will help her, Mike Bloomberg will help her, but she has to really own this finally and say, I made a terrible mistake. I knew the classified information should not have come through that server. I thought it would all come in hard copy.
Or should she just continue to ignore it?
No, I don't think you should ignore it. I think the American public, we are a nation that forgives. That's part of the Judeo-Christian tradition. And she can be forgiven. People want to like her.
Well, I don't know. Kendall Coffee, I should let the audience know, you're a former U.S. attorney. You were appointed by Bill Clinton, and you have contributed to the Clinton campaign.
All true.
Okay. So this situation with Comey, with the emails, the continued breaches, and her inconsistencies, which are glaring at this point, as an attorney, former U.S. attorney, do you think she should have been indicted, or there should have been tougher actions against her?
No, I think we can accept what James Comey did. At the time he was appointed, at the time he was looking at this, there was a universal respect for having a guy that was as bipartisan, frankly, experienced as could be. There was
a universal respect. That respect, I think, has been lost, in part because he talks about a statute that goes back really far, and then essentially says he didn't understand how to interpret that particular statute, or because it hadn't been interpreted in a certain way in the past, he felt like he shouldn't have been the first one. That was the way I saw the whole thing, despite the fact that the first couple of minutes of talking, he was pounding the heck out of Hillary. It felt like he was ready to put her in ball and chains.
Well, that's why I think we have a verdict that we can respect on the outcome of this controversy. I don't think either side, Democrats or Republicans, should be doing a whole lot of spin about it, because he said, bottom line, very critical things about the handling of highly classified information. That's nothing to brag about. On the other hand, he made it clear he did not think this was a prosecutable case, that there was no intentional misconduct with respect to the handling of emails. So if he was the guy we all respected before his decision, maybe we should continue.
All right, well, the polls are trickling in, guys, and so far she's gotten a small bounce in unfavorability, but still probably the highest unfavorables of any Democrat that's run in modern times.